prison systems. Not quite like organ systems, but the same basic concept, both made of different parts that help the main structure function. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, a private prison or for-profit prison is a place in which individuals are physically confined or incarcerated by a third party that is contracted by a government agency. To put it into simpler words, private prisons are where the people running the place are operators hired by the government. In my research, the question I asked myself was, should prison systems in America be privatized? And the side I am debating for in this video is, yes, prison systems in America should be privatized. My partner Hao is arguing that they should not be privatized, on the basis that the staff are underpaid, there is trouble controlling inmates, and that inmates are kept for longer. I will, however, be countering with the arguments that 1. The prison is more well managed, 2. Operators are better with maintenance and functionality, and lastly, that private prisons are more cost-effective. Let's get into it then, shall we? My first argument is that the inner workings of the prison are more well managed, which concerns the health and well-being of both inmates and staff. Nowadays, private prisons are spending more on healthcare per inmate, with a drastic 81% increase in just the span of over 2 years. In fact, a study done by the Greenhaven Press on healthcare spendings within private prisons shows that operators are spending more on their prisoners than the state of California is on their citizens. If that doesn't convince you enough, take note of this. The same study found that the amount of inmate deaths dropped by 47%, with the amount of preventable deaths decreasing to just 3. Privatized prisons considered the well-being of both staff and inmates more important than money when it comes to hectic security situations such as overcrowding. More so, the states part of the 2/3 that have allowed privatization have found that private prisons are secure and humane, going against what the media tells the public and instead providing the truth. My second point is that private prisons are easier to maintain and function due to operators. Private operators are a blessing to both the government and the prisoners. They are concerned with the well-being of the prisoners, while also making sure that the government is not at the wrong end of the bargain, as they only require that the government client pays for capacity as needed, and makes sure that the prison building itself is up to government standards. This is proven by the fact that private operators are able to design and build a new facility in almost half the amount of time it takes government projects, with the end result being more efficient and easy to run. Private operators are even more beneficial in the fact that it allows only one place for the client to go with all problems concerning inmates and the prison itself, as opposed to public prisons who require the government client to go to a variety of different sources. In addition to this, operators economically help locals by hiring and purchasing. Hiring private operators will not only enhance results, but also reduce liability exposure and allows the government client to retain flexibility, resulting in a happier client, a happier operator, and happier prisoners in the end. My final argument is that private prisons are cost-effective. Coming into the financial aspect, private prisons are just better as a whole as opposed to state prisons. They're able to keep check of their finances and savings more, and are honest while doing so, while state prisons fail to include avoidable costs in reports. Private prisons house inmates for a lesser expense, while continuously taking care of their well-being and encouraging cost savings for the client, which prevents debt in the future. Studies have found that the competitive nature of the prison industry has led to improved performance and lowered costs, with private prisons having the legislators' favor due to cost effectiveness and all-around well-being of both inmates and staff. Take the state of Maryland, for example. A research economist writer named Matthew Mitchell found that if Maryland decided to privatize their prisons, they could save up to $97 million a year by just housing 5% of their inmates. Think of how much they could save if they housed, say, 50% of their inmates. $250 million annually. That amount of money could be directed towards something more beneficial in the state. And if this is the amount of money Maryland could save, think about how much the United States as a whole could save if all states decided to privatize their prisons. So, private prisons. What's not to like about them? They're cost-effective and provide benefits for the state they're in. The operators help with maintenance, functionality, and well-being of the client, prison, staff, and inmates, and they're secure and humane, taking care of the health and well-being of staff and inmates. It is for these reasons, and many more, that I believe, yes, prison systems in America should be privatized. Thank you.